Okay, let us see today how to use solver to optimize a constrained problem. We've already seen how to use solver if we want to, fit a model, but there are no constraints. See, the problem one also is a similar kind of problem wherein we need to minimize a function within a bound of x1 and x2, right? So that is where a constraint comes in. Similarly, say for example, a chemical industry is producing two different purity solvents, as mentioned here, product A and product B. One is of higher purity, other is of a bit lower purity than A, and when it sells, it makes profit of 20 rupees per gallon for A and 15 rupees per gallon for solvent B. And what we need to find out is we need to find out the optimum quantities of A and B to be produced so that we can maximize our profit. But while in doing so, what we have to take care is there are two constraints, in fact three constraints. One constraint is that combinedly both A and B can be produced more than 800 gallon per day, so that's a limitation as far as the capacity of the plant is concerned. Other two constraints are individually for A and B. That is, that if you want to maintain some kind of, financial viability, you require at least 200 gallon per day of B and 500 gallon per day of A to be produced. That means minimum quantity of B to be produced is 200 and minimum quantity of A to be produced is 500. With this in mind, let us try to develop, an Excel sheet wherein we get the actual answer for A and B. I already prepared some basics, profit from product A, which is, high purity product or solvent, and low purity solvent. Let x1 and xb be the two variables which are nothing but the quantity of solvent of purity A produced and solvent of purity B produced. So since we know that a minimum quantity of A and B to be produced are 500 and 200 respectively, what we'll do is we'll write here precisely 500 A and 200 this. Now we'll prepare our profit function. Profit function is nothing but quantity of A produced multiplied by profit from the A, and quantity of B produced multiplied by profit of this. So this is our profit function. Now our job is to maximize this with all the required constraints. So we can go to solver and make this as a maximum value. So default ready button is maximum. By changing cells, our cells to be changed are x1 and x2. So we'll change the quantity of A and B to be produced. But there are certain constraints. What are those constraints? Our constraints are that this cell, that is D10, has to be greater than or equal to 500. Then this cell has to be greater than or equal to 200, and we should have one more constraint. What is that other constraint? The other constraint is that the production of A and B should be uh, it should be less than 800, less than or equal to 800. So see, they say that our process permits production of only 800 gallons. So we'll not go for less than that, but we'll try to have a exactly equal to that. So we'll try to add that constraint. Before that, we'll have to first make a summation of this two, which goes for this plus this, and we'll try to get a constraint for that. I'll have to add a constraint, and this cell reference has to be, will go to equal to 800, so that we at least produce 800. Sorry, it has to be this. So now we can see that our problem has been formalized here. Our objective function is D13. We want to maximize that by changing 10 and 11, that is this two, but making sure that 10 has to be greater than or equal to 500, 11 has to be greater than or equal to 200, and the summation of both the products, the total quantity of production has to be equal to 800. And since these two variables are physical quantities, they can't be less than 0. We'll keep this checkbox as it is, will not change it, and we'll go with the GRG nonlinear and we'll solve, and this is what we have got. Now that means you have to produce naturally higher amount of A. No, it was very easy kind of solution, but this is how you can use any other problem wherein there may be some complex mathematics involved, but you can use solver in order to optimize the production of a specific product, right? Let us see another kind of problem in the solver itself, with a kind of constraint, which is more of a chemical engineering domain. Let's say we have process of methanol production wherein carbon monoxide and hydrogen are getting reacted to produce methanol. There is a side reaction going on between carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide and hydrogen producing carbon monoxide and water. So if I want to find out the maximum possible equilibrium composition or maximum possible equilibrium conversion for this, I need to solve both this reaction equilibrium problem simultaneously. So the reaction equilibrium constant for reaction 1 is given by this, and this is given by this relation based on the stoichiometry. If we think that the initial number of moles of CO and H2 are 1 mole each, then we can develop a relation between K1 n extent of reaction epsilon 1 for this and epsilon 2 for this reaction, and we can finally put them into Excel and we can solve it. Now I have already prepared the Excel sheet for that. These are all the constant. This constant needs to be 5639.5, so let us go with that. And we can I have calculated the values of K1 and K2 based on this relationship. For temperature equal to 300 and pressure given is 50 to 100 bars. Let's say we'll keep it as 50 or maybe 70, and we'll try to solve this later. And before I actually explain this, let us see some of the basic mathematics involved into it, some chemical engineering involved into it. The two reactions, K1 is this, K2 is this. These are given in terms of partial pressure, which can be converted in terms of their mole fractions into the ratio of actual pressure to some reference pressure, wherein reference pressure is 1 bar. This for second reaction. And with our basic fundamentals, we can if we start with CO, H2 and CO2 with 111 mole each, we'll get this as our reaction equilibrium mole fractions of CO, H2, CH3OH, CO2 and H2. So these are our reactions, right? And this is what we can convert them in terms of mole fractions. And this mole fractions, that is, this is YCO, this is YH2, this is YCH3OH. When we substitute them here in place of this, what we get is something like this. And we get two expressions for K1 and K2 separately in terms of epsilon 1 and epsilon 2. And we need to solve this simultaneously, right, to get the value of epsilon 1 and epsilon 2. So how do we do that? We'll first substitute temperature, find K1, K2, and then we find A1 and A and B, right, by means of solver. So what will be our strategy in solver? This is my K1 based on the temperature, K2 based on the temperature. I have initially estimated some value of epsilon, say for example 0.2 and 0.2, and what I have done is I calculated K1 and K2 using these two equations. By substituting estimated value of epsilon 1 and epsilon 2, I have estimated or calculated K1 and K2 by this. Now what I'm going to do with the help of solver is, so what I've done is I'll compare K1 with this K1, which is calculated based on temperature, and K2, which is based on this K2 based temperature, and this is based on the epsilon. So what I've done is I already added the data in solver. So I got C20, which is this, and I want that to be uh, since it's the difference between k1 of this and this to be almost 0, that is 0.001. That by changing C14 and C15, that is this two, and what I want is I'll put this as 0.01, and I also want k2, that is difference of this k2 and this, to also be 0. So I'll put that as a constraint. So I've added that as a constraint, and then I'll press solve. So I'll get the solution. This is my k, and this is almost 0. So this is k2 is almost 0, and my epsilon 1 is 0.5, whereas epsilon 2 is very less. However, what I could see is there is some issues with the data which which we have. So after some trial and error, what I've got is so that you'll be able to get an actual picture. I have manipulated one of the constants of K2 as a function of temperature, so I get some values of K1 and K2 which are comparable with each other. And now we'll try to repeat the same. Our solver, what it will do is C20 is this, which is a difference between K1 based on T and this, and my constraint now is difference between K2 from epsilon and from temperature. So now if I press solve, just a minute, I'll have to start with a new guess, and I'll go to solver. C20 2 value 0.001, C21 0.001 by changing this, and I've got the answer. And you can see that my epsilon 1 and epsilon 2 are having some specific values. So this is how we can solve two non-linear equations. These are two non-linear equations in nature. We can use solver to match one of them to the desired value and keep other as a constraint. So by that we can solve this. If there are more than two, let's say for example 3 equation, 3 unknowns, we can put one as an actual equation and other two as a constraint. So that's how you can utilize the capacity of solver to solve more than one non-linear equations. So today what we have seen is that how to solve an optimization problem with a constraint, and how to use constraint to solve multiple non-linear equations. So this will be a very helpful tool when you want to really solve some practical engineering, or to be precise chemical engineering problems.